She probably doesn't like it very much. She wasn't very happy when I was writing it. Yuri stares at the poem. A minute passes. More than enough time for her to finish reading. Oh, sorry. I forgot to start speaking. It's all in her head. She's just rehearsing everything that she was going to say in her head. It's fine. Don't force yourself. I'm not. I just need to put my thoughts into words. Hold on. Okay. This is your first time writing a poem, right? Not a good way to start it off. Maybe it is. You know, softening the blow. Yeah. Why do you ask? I'm, just, making sure that you're not an absolutely terrible writer because of, you know, who you are. It's just that you're not experienced. Oh wait, I can't say that to him. I guess that it might be after reading this. So it's that bad. No. Did I just raise my voice? I'm sorry. Yuri buries her face in her hands. I couldn't help but notice. I couldn't help but notice that it's been several minutes and we really haven't gotten anywhere. It might take Yuri a while to get used to new people. It's fine. I didn't really notice. What were you saying? Right. It's just that there are specific writing habits that are usually typical of new writers. And having been through that myself, I kind of learned to pick up on them. I think the most noticeable thing I recognize in new writers is that they try to make their style very deliberate. In other words, they tend to pick a writing style separate from the topic matter, and they form fit the two together. The end result is that both the style and the expressiveness are weakened. Wow, that's deep. I mean, that's really well said. I gotta be honest. And that's a good point. Like, you know, sometimes you sit down for writing and you think, hey, I wanna write a romance novel, or I wanna write a fiction novel. And so, you know, you sit down to write a fiction novel and you're like, I gotta start off boom bam, I gotta have the aliens jumping down, I gotta have the first paragraph be the guy jumping out of a spaceship, or you know, or flying through the sky, or you know, or discovering superpowers, or some kind of big twist like that, you know. And sometimes you know, if you want to write a story and you have that story in your mind, you don't necessarily have to like form fit it to that. You can just I was just making sure I'm still recording. I've been recording for a while. I didn't want it to fail. I just realized I would lose a lot. But you can just begin writing the way that you want to write, you know? You don't have to form fit it, because if you go into it and you're like, I have this great story I want to write, but the first scene that comes to my mind is the guy walking down the street and picking up a rock that's pink, and that makes him think about something that's important to him. And that's the first line you want to write of an epic story. Sometimes that's just where you need to start. You just need to begin wherever it feels right. And maybe that pink rock becomes an important part of the whole story. And it's just it felt important to you, and you just want to start there. And so, but if you force yourself to be like, okay, all these sci-fi books that I've read have been starting like this or like this, so I got to make my story sound the same way, then it's true, because it makes your story lose its uniqueness and its personalness to you, because you're trying to form it to them, and then their story isn't yours, and so it doesn't really fit the style. I mean, it could fit the style, but I mean, then you're not really expressing yourself. You're kind of just taking a cookie cutter format that hundreds of other books have taken, and you're trying to stuff your idea into that cookie cutter mold. And you go to the store, you go to a bakery, and you see all the round cookies. You see shelves full of round cookies, and then you see one shelf that has a cookie that's in the shape of a star, or that's, in the shape, I don't know, even a watermelon, whatever. You see one in the shape of a star, and what does your attention draw? It goes straight to the one that's in the shape of a star, because all these other cookies, they're just circles. They're the same thing that you see every day in every store. And sure, you might see some stars here and there, but it draws your attention because it's different and it's unique. And sometimes when you write, you don't have to say, hey, this is a fiction book, or this is a romance book, or this is whatever. You can just you want to have a romance novel where there's a cowboy in a spaceship who's saving a princess. Go for it. Maybe that might be a super interesting, exciting story. I'll get back into the game, but yeah. Once Yuri finds her train of thought, it's as if her demeanor totally changes. Her stammering is completely gone, and she sounds like an expert. Of course, that's not something you can be blamed for. There are so many different skills and techniques that go into even writing a simple poem. Not just finding them and building them, but getting them to work together is probably the most challenging part. It might take you some time, but it all comes with practice and learning by example and trying new things. I also hope that everyone else in the club gives you valuable feedback. Natsuki can be a little biased, though. Biased? How? Well, never mind. I shouldn't be talking about other people like that. Sorry. It's fine. I'm not sure if Yuri is apologizing to herself, to me, or to Natsuki. Do you mind if I read your poem? No? Please do. I'd love to share my thought process behind it. Yuri smiles dreamily, as if that's a rare opportunity for her, which itself is kind of funny. After all, isn't this supposed to be the literature club? Ghost under the light. The tendrils of my hair illuminate beneath the amber glow, bathing. It must be this one, the last remaining streetlight to have withstood the test of time, the last, yet to be replaced by the sickening blur, green hue of the future. I bathe, calm, breathing air of the present, but living in the past. The light flickers, and I flicker back. That's deep. I gotta read it again. Ghost under the light. Ghost under the light. Tendrils of my hair illuminate beneath the amber glow. Bathing. It must be this one. The last remaining streetlight to have withstood the test of time. The last, yet to be replaced by the sickening blue-green hue of the future. I bathe, calm, breathing air of the present, but living in the past. The light flickers, and I flicker back. I'm sorry, I have such terrible handwriting. I should think about the poem for a minute. The light flickers, and I flicker back. The last remaining street lamp. Could that be the last remaining purpose? Or perhaps the last person that's important? Maybe it's kind of like living in your childhood, you know? You have all your friends that you're close to, that you care about, and as you grow older, you start to change, and your friends start to change, but sometimes you just have that desire that you want to go back to the way things were. And the funny thing is, you yourself have changed so much that even if you were to just be dropped back into that past, it wouldn't really be the same. But part of you just longs to feel the way that it felt before. To just be able to flip a switch and make everything go back to the way it was. And sometimes when you're in a situation like that, you have maybe one friendship that feels the same, even though it's changing. Even though you both know that you're changing, you try to keep the part of you alive that was alive when you were happy. And so you keep that part of yourself alive, and they try to keep that part of themselves alive, so that you can interact with those two parts of you can interact, and you can try to remember the past. But even though you can enjoy those moments, you can see how things are changing. And even though you can feel that same happiness, it feels less genuine, even though you experience it, even though you're experiencing it. And the more you do it, the more it fades, the more it feels different. And so it's kind of this conflict where you want to have that feeling and you want it to always be the same, but you know that at some point it's going to change. And so you're breathing the air of the present, but you're living in the past because, yeah. And so the lamp flickering out, the future is kind of that future that you know is inevitable, that you desperately don't want to let go of that. but you know that sometime in the future it's going to be gone, and you might not know when that is, but you just keep holding on to that feeling as long as you can to try not to forget. Getting all emotional. Sorry. What? I wasn't thinking that at all. But it took you a long time to read. Well, I just don't read script very often. I actually think your handwriting is pretty. Oh, that's a relief. Also, I like the poem. I really like the poem. Even though it's short, it's really descriptive. It wasn't too short. I usually write longer poems. Not at all. I'm really glad you like it. I'll be honest. Since it's our first time sharing, I wanted to write something a little more mild. Something easy to digest, I suppose. Are you into ghosts, Yuri? Actually, the story isn't about a ghost at all, Lobster. Really? I must have totally missed the point. Well, I suppose you did only glance over it after all. But remember that poets often express their own thoughts, feelings, and experiences in their own work. They usually do more than tell a simple story or paint a picture. In this case, perhaps the subject of the poem is only being symbolically compared to a ghost, lingering in her last remaining place of comfort, unable to let go of the past, and soon to be left with nothing. It's a lot more solemn, putting it that way. I hadn't even thought about that. And that's impressive. It's nothing really. Well, it makes me happy that you think that. Just remember that it won't be long before you pick up on these things too. Yeah, maybe you're right. I guess I'll have to keep trying. I'm counting on you. That was deep. That was touching.